Good morning and welcome to Trent Hills Today. My name is Susan and I'm your host, and it's Friday, March 16th, and as you can see, I have a guest with me, and we'll be speaking with Alan a little later, but I have a number of events that I want to share with you. We're all about community, of course. I'm a little bit ashamed to say that I had nothing green to wear today. My grandfather would be very, very unhappy with me, but hey, green is not my color. Purple is, so there you go. So tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day and we've got lots going on in the community. Everybody's doing something special. We have $2 Irish stew at the Legion here in Campbellford. If you're into cards, there's euchre down in Warkworth and there's pancakes in Hastings. So you know what? It's not like we lack anything in this community. You'll certainly be well fed. The other thing that we have going on is there is live music also in Hastings tonight, and that's something we'll be talking about, not in Hastings, but Alan will be doing something public tonight. And we also have, I just wanted to give you a little heads up, we have the annual, first annual actually, run in Ferris Park. And it's a fundraiser, and the reason I'm mentioning it in March is that if you're going to be in the run and you aren't a runner like I am, you need to do some training, and the training is not easy. The weather has not been cooperating if you want to work outside. So just a heads up, get ready. If you want to do the run, you have to register. There's information on the websites, but I will bring it up to you again because I'm hoping to run if I can get out and start training. And the other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention starting this weekend as well is that the AWE in Warkworth, there is going to be a photograph exhibit and it'll be on for quite a while. They're having a reception on April the 7th, but before that the photos will be up. One of the photographers is Laura Berman, and I know her, and the other person is Brian Tyson. So if you would like to see some great photographs while you're down and around Warkworth, please pop into the AWE after they arrive tomorrow. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you, yesterday was Change Your Password Day. So hands up for all of you who've changed your password. Note, my hand is not up. They mention that you should have an 8-character password. It should have numbers, upper and lower case. It should not be a real word. I know it sounds challenging, but think of the damage that will be done to your personal life if somebody hacks into your computer because you have an easy peasy password. Last two things. We have a council meeting Tuesday morning at the clock tower. Starts at 9 o'clock. I know a lot of the people in the community say to me, you know what, I'm no longer 17 and I have lots of things I'd rather do than sit and listen to council. Okay, that's fine. I'm just letting you know it's there. We're going to be having a municipal election. If you're interested in running or you're curious as to what really goes on in the chamber, I would encourage you to drop by on Tuesday morning. But we don't usually get a break, so if you don't think you're going to be staying, you might want to sit closer to the door. And the last thing I want to mention that will have an impact on us is Northumberland County is having a meeting next week, and they're going to be talking about the empty retail space vacancy tax credit that people get. And if you don't understand fully what that means, we have a lot of empty retail space in Campbellford and other communities as well. And what the communities get, or those property owners, get a tax credit because they say, oh look, I couldn't rent my retail space. So they're going to be talking about that item and hopefully rescinding that so that we get more tax money from people who have empty spaces and don't seem too inspired to rent them out at a reasonable cost to people who want to start businesses in our communities. So that's it. It's going to be an Irish weekend, I'm sure. Please don't drink and drive. We certainly don't want to hear that anybody's been in an accident while enjoying St. Patrick's Day. So as I mentioned to you, I have a guest. Alan is here, and someone else who's just come in. Let's have you come on up because we want to hear what you have to say. I understand your name is Chris.
Chris Campbell.
All right, so Chris is joining us. So Alan, I understand that you are going to be at an event tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about where it is and what it is?
Yeah, it'll be at The Natural in Warkworth, and Steve Holt is the host. And he's been doing these Friday evening music events for the last few months, and he's decided to put in an author's reading night. So tonight we will be reading, it'll be readers from Northumberland County, writers from Northumberland County, including Chris, myself, and another Chris who will also be there. Starts at 7, runs till 9, and we'll be reading from things like this, which is an anthology put out by Northumberland County writers. I have a couple of stories in here, as does the other Chris who will be reading. And this Chris will be reading from his own book.
We were sure you were going to be here.
And Chris is a retired Canadian Opera Company singer, and this is his memoir about his life in that genre. Quite fascinating. I've read it. I loved it.
Well, you've stolen some of my thunder. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
We lived in Europe at one point, and we were traveling through, and I heard that a lot of Canadian opera singers had to really go to Europe, and in particular Germany, to get some fundamental experience.
That's
because
absolutely right. In Europe, not as much today, but certainly in the last century, an opera company was part of the fabric of a town. Every little town had its own opera company. Even the tiny little towns
so
had
Campbellford
opera.
should have one.
Graded in terms of size, all the way from sort of Berlin down to the tiniest town. Everybody had an opera company, and they were all employees of the government. So opera singers were salaried there, the opera season, and the orchestra, and the directors, everybody on staff there. So the opera season went around the season, you see. So it was like a full-time job. But we didn't have anything like this in Canada, or in North America, really. The Canadian Opera Company now has a season that runs from September till May. But back in those days, that was almost unheard of. So to get experience and also to have a full-time employment, a lot of Canadian singers went to Europe. That's correct.
Well, this is a little bit of an aside, but I was at Provis on Wednesday, and Ted Barris, who is a Canadian author, wrote the book The Great Escape, and he spoke about the fact that the Germans, and I've seen this in many war movies, loved theater. Even the prisoners of war were given the opportunity to put on theater. And so it speaks to a very different attitude, a very different perspective on opera and culture, and I mean, I guess every country has its own preferences. Now, when you spoke about this book, The Spirits of the Hills, which you said is an anthology, will you read from one of your own articles?
Yes, I will.
And
Sorry, I have two in there. One's non-fiction, and it tells the story of a road trip I made some years ago driving a Rolls Royce across Canada.
Oh, there's a hardship.
It's the only way to go. But the one I'll read is fiction, and I've set it in Northumberland County, just to bring some local atmosphere in.
Color. And when you decide to read from it, how much time will they give you to read? Because I've been at book readings, and I often wonder how, out of a novel, how do you choose? Like, you've got a novel, so I'll be talking to you briefly, but how do you choose how much you're going to read if you're given 2 or 3 or 5 minutes?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the audience you have, how willing they are to sit there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay, so it's a bit of a body language thing.
Yeah, you sort of see what's going on out there and then decide when to stop.
It's funny, a little bit different with me. Actually, this will be my second appearance reading in the area, because last week at the Clock Tower I gave a noon-hour presentation as part of the what they call the TikTok series at the Clock Tower.
Right.
Actually, it was more of a multimedia thing. I had slides and I had some clips of my old singing days, and my daughter was actually in town and she played the piano as well. So, but I have to, because I wanted to read complete stories from the book, not little snippets. So, with a beginning and an end. So, but a lot of them are too long to read just for in 3 to 5 minutes. So I had to abridge some of them. So I actually keep my writing in a binder. I don't read from my book when I do.
Okay.
And they're a little sort of. What I say to the people is that if you buy the book and read the stories, you get the filled out version. I call it the Biggest Loser version of the book, because you get all the words, whereas I've cut it down a little bit, and I'll be doing that tonight as well. But we're going to, as Alan says, we're going to play it by ear and see how we fill the time.
Well, it's funny because I remember I was thinking about knowing that you were coming on, and I don't remember the name of the author, I don't remember the book, but the passage he read was about logging up in Northern Ontario. And in the old days, and this is way back, they used to load the logs onto basically a flat sleigh or wagon. And the horses had to make their ways down these windy, slippery slopes, right? And the whole idea was that you had to make sure you went at just the right speed so that the horse was under control and you didn't get any movement, because any movement in the logs and the horse and the trailer went off the side of the cliff. And I just remember the author reading it, and like I said, I don't remember who he was or what the name of his book was, but he read it in just the right way that it stuck with me all these years. So what do you hope to get out of this? What is the purpose of doing public readings? Or
well, a lot of it is just to broaden our recognition in the community that there is a writers group in Northumberland County that's part of Northumberland Hills Arts Association. We've got about 45 active members in the writing group. There's about 160 in the whole association.
Wow.
Many of those are artists. Some are multi-talented. They're photographers as well. And we're just trying to get the word out there that we're a welcoming group and we would like more members. We put on events. We put on a very large festival last November that was very successful down in Coburg. We'll be part of the Lilac Festival in Warkworth. We'll be part of the Waterfront Festival in Coburg later this year in July.
So you guys will really be around. And what are you hoping to do with why are you sharing your memoirs?
Well, I'm brand new to the area. My wife and I just moved to Campbellford. We live down on Myers Island at the moment, back in June. So
welcome to the community. Nice to meet you.
Now, through my singing career, I happen to be friends with the two founders and creators of the West Bend Festival, Donna and Brian. So that's how I ended up speaking at the Clock Tower. My aim, of course, is not only I love to read from my book and I love to tell the stories, but is to introduce myself to people.
Oh, excellent. So we will see you at Warkworth tonight.
The Natural.
At the Natural. Those of you who have been watching this show know that I interviewed Steve Holt. So if you are wondering where the Natural is, that's where it is, downtown on Main Street in Warkworth. It starts at
7 o'clock.
And it goes till 9.
Yes.
But I would suggest that you get there early so that you can get a seat, maybe get a drink or buy some juice, and get to hear some of the stories that have made up not only the individual people's lives, but made up the lives of the people who now are in our community and who are contributing to our culture and to the fun that we often have in our community. So I want to thank Chris. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you, Alan, for inviting Chris. And I want to say, have a great evening. I'm sorry I won't be there to film it, but maybe another time what we'll do is we'll do something and I'll get you to both read.
Thank you.
Thank you. And until next time, take care.